Texas transfer quarterback Terrence Brooks is off the board moments ago, the top available quarter, committed to Illinois. Now, that happened just moments before we sat down to tape this video, and I have a feeling there could be even more on the way. I got On3 portal expert Pete Nakos here to talk some, who else? Cormani McClain, and also the best of what's left in the transfer portal. But before we get going, guys, smash that subscribe button for me. Look at this, almost a 50K. You guys are getting us there. I appreciate it. Hit subscribe. All right, let's bring on portal expert Pete Nakos. Pete, first of all, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Josh.
Thank you. Let's get right to it. These guys are committing left and right. I don't want to miss one. One big name, though, that hasn't committed, that's Colorado transfer Cormani McClain. But a ton of talk this weekend because he showed up in Gainesville on Friday. And, Pete, it sounds like things are pretty serious between him and the Florida Gators. Could this get wrapped up soon, or are other teams still in the mix?
You know, Josh, after almost a month of silence from Cormani McClain, we have movement. Yeah, Josh, Cormani, his mother, and his agent were in Gainesville on Friday, and sources tell On3 that there's a good chance that Cormani will be back on campus this week. Tuesday has been thrown around as a possible target, but nothing is set in stone. I really like where Florida's at right now. There's definitely mutual interest between both parties. And I think Florida presents a lot of options that Cormani likes, right? In the past, we've talked to USF, UCF, Memphis. Mm-hmm. Florida obviously gives him the opportunity to play in the SEC.
So we know he's familiar with Florida. He, throughout his recruitment, we all know what happened there. If he was there this weekend, is he waiting on something? Why didn't he come off the board? What's going on between him and Florida? Is there an offer? Is there a sticking point? Like, what's going on here?
There's been some reports that maybe if Cormani went on the roster right now, there wouldn't be a scholarship spot for him. He might have to walk on. As On3's Gator Online, though, has pointed out, the scholarship count could shift this summer, and maybe a scholarship would open up. So I think those are just some of the fine details that are kind of being combed through. I've heard of some other schools maybe in the mix, but I think right now the interest between Florida and the McClain camp, that's kind of where things stand right now.
We are hearing a lot between USF, UCF. Is that still on the board? And would they be willing to maybe offer him a scholarship, whereas UF, may or may not?
Can't comment on that. It really just seems like Florida has emerged as this kind of almost a top target. I don't want to say they're the school to watch just yet, but it's really clear that there's interest between both parties, and that's kind of where Cormani McClain's focus is at the moment.
All right. Well, let's move on to edge Tyler Barron. We'll keep an eye on Cormani McClain, but edge Tyler Barron. Now, I thought he was going to join Miami as they kind of had a lot of momentum coming off of his visit. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. What's the latest, though, on Tyler Barron, and is Miami still involved?
Yeah, Josh, you said it. I mean, Miami really thought they had a lot of momentum 2 weeks ago, and then Tyler Barron coming off that visit makes the decision to visit USC last weekend, and then this weekend, from my understanding, didn't make any visits. But man, Miami and USC both feel like they're in this. I don't think anyone can rule out Ole Miss until this is all said and done. And I mean, they've had some contact with Tyler Barron and his family, I know, and from my understanding, he hasn't made a visit yet to Ole Miss, but there's definitely been contact there. So those kind of appear to be the three schools to watch. The one thing I mentioned with Tyler Barron is he sat out most of the spring with injury. Is that factoring into any decisions on schools' parts? I don't believe so, because people just view him as such an immediate impact on a player.
All right, Grand Valley State defensive lineman JVR Suggs. He's been on the market. He's been highly coveted in Michigan, Kentucky, Wisconsin. But in the past few days, LSU has entered the chat. Is LSU now considered the favorite here? How do you break it down?
For so long, it always seemed like Michigan was the favorite in this, Josh. And Florida State was actually really in the mix, too, and made his initial, I think, top four schools, which he's now redone, put LSU in. Florida State's out. He's at LSU right now, from my understanding. He's there till Tuesday on a visit. Connecting the dots, obviously, right? Brian Kelly was at Grand Valley State, won 2 D2 national championships there. I believe one of Brian Kelly's sons knows JVR Suggs. So I think things are trending in the right direction for LSU. And if we're going to be honest here, LSU really needs a defensive tackle, and you kind of get the feeling that they're going all in on this recruitment.
All right. Last name we got to hit on is South Alabama linebacker Kahlil Jacobs. And this week he had to call off visits to Alabama and Missouri. Now, he did make it to Auburn, though. So do you have an update on his plans, or are the Tigers now in pole position?
Yeah, so he made it to Auburn. Ole Miss is now in the chat as well, in the mix, I should say. And then he had to call off visits to Alabama and Missouri. But he told me this past Friday that those two are still in the mix, and he's hoping to reschedule those visits, but no dates have been set in stone just yet.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like the portal's winding down, but there's still some coveted names on the board. You guys let me know, comment section below. Where do we think Cormani McClain's going? What's going on with Kahlil Jacobs? You guys are the experts. Let us know what you think. Comment section below. Well, you've made it to the end of today's video, but there's hundreds more videos on the On3 Recruits channel for you to check out. And also, while you're here, hit subscribe.